Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a single product, just one, making this massive global impact. You feel it almost everywhere. And it's hit a number, a sales figure, that's honestly hard to even visualize. Today, we're diving into a huge landmark achievement by, well, one of the most recognizable brands out there, Apple's iPhone sales milestone. This deep dive, it's built on a whole stack of sources. We've got recent earnings reports, the latest tech news, market analysis, all focused on this one iconic device.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is that we're not just looking at a big sales number. It's more like a snapshot. It tells us so much about consumer loyalty, about how the global tech market is shifting, and that constant pressure to keep innovating. It's a much bigger story than just the units sold.
Absolutely. So our mission really for this deep dive is to pull out the most important bits from all these sources. We want to help you get a quick handle on just how significant this latest iPhone milestone really is and, understand the financial ripples it creates and also maybe peek ahead at the big challenges and what exciting stuff might be coming down the line for, well, arguably the most popular smartphone on the planet. So let's start with the core fact, the big news anchoring all this. Apple has officially sold over 3 billion iPhones since the first one came out, back in 2007?
That's right, 2007. And this was announced directly by Tim Cook.
Yeah, during the Q3 2025 earnings call.
Exactly. It's historic, really. It
Mm.
represents almost 2 decades of just continued, pretty extraordinary global growth.
3 billion. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Well, think of it like this. That's enough iPhones to give one to every single person in India and the United States.
Wow.
And you'd still have billions left over. It's an almost unimaginable scale
Yeah.
for, a single consumer gadget.
And what's really wild, I think, isn't just the 3 billion itself, it's how fast they got there recently.
The acceleration, yeah.
Exactly. Think about this timeline. Okay, so it took Apple about 9 years, right, until 2016 to sell the first billion.
9 years.
Then the second billion, just 5 years later, by 2021.
Faster.
Much faster. And now this third billion, they hit that in only 4 years, from 2021 to 2025.
Just 4 years for the last billion.
That kind of speeding up nearly 20 years into a product's life, that's genuinely remarkable, isn't it?
It really is. And if we sort of connect this to the bigger picture, this acceleration tells us a lot more than just, oh, they sold a lot of phones.
Right.
It really highlights the incredible loyalty of Apple's user base and just this ongoing global appetite for new iPhones. Scaling like that, even when the smartphone market overall is kind of maturing, it's just this almost unique brand stickiness.
The ecosystem effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are so locked into that ecosystem, they just keep upgrading. It's a kind of sustained demand that, honestly, few other single product lines could ever hope to match.
And okay, that kind of scale, that acceleration, it obviously means huge financial power.
Oh, absolutely.
So what does this actually mean for Apple's wallet? Let's look at the numbers. In Q3 fiscal 2025 alone, iPhone sales brought in a massive $44.6 billion.
$44.6 billion.
In one quarter.
Just from iPhones. And get this, that accounted for somewhere between like 47 and 50% of Apple's total revenue for the quarter, which was $94 billion.
So nearly half.
Nearly half. And it was also a 13% jump year over year for iPhone revenue. Pretty healthy growth.
Which, it raises a really important question, I think. We're in this era where lots of big tech companies are trying hard to diversify, right? Spread their bets.
Sure. Services, wearables, other hardware.
Exactly. So what does it really mean when almost half of a company this huge, with revenue like that, still relies so heavily on one single product line? That is a crucial question. For a company Apple's size, what are the strategic implications? I mean, is it a strength or a potential weakness?
Well, it definitely underscores the iPhone's massive strategic importance. It's the pillar holding up the whole Apple ecosystem, you could say. But it also highlights a significant reliance, a dependency maybe. It means the iPhone has to keep succeeding for Apple's overall financial health.
Right. Any stumble with the iPhone has a much bigger impact than it would for a more diversified company.
Precisely. A major misstep, a big shift in what consumers want. It could hit Apple much harder because so much rests on the iPhone's shoulders.
Okay. And looking at the immediate drivers for that recent growth, that Q3 success, Apple actually confirmed the iPhone 16 lineup is the most popular iPhone ever.
Yeah, they specifically called that out.
And reports suggest it did way better than the iPhone 15 models. That directly boosted the growth we were just talking about. But what was it about the 16? What made it so popular?
Well, it's interesting to pause on that because the why tells you a bit about what consumers are looking for right now. Our analysis suggests it wasn't just one thing. It was probably a combination. Things like enhanced cameras, they keep pushing the boundaries there, and also maybe some subtle but meaningful improvements in battery life.
Things that matter day to day.
Exactly. Stuff that resonates with regular users. It wasn't necessarily some single giant leap feature. It seems like it was more about refining those core experiences. And that clearly gave people, especially those with older models, a compelling reason to upgrade this cycle.
So steady improvements can be just as effective as radical change sometimes.
It seems so. It shows that consistent, thoughtful upgrades can really drive a strong cycle.
Okay, so beyond the sheer numbers, beyond the billions of dollars, why is this 3 billion milestone really so significant for the tech industry and, for you listening?
Well, it cements Apple's dominance in the premium end of the smartphone market. That's key. They continue to lead not just in how much money they make from phones, but also in profit margins.
They make most of the profit in the industry, right?
By a long shot. And what's really telling is they do this while only having around, 20% of the global market share in terms of units shipped?
So it's not about shipping the most phones overall.
No, it's about capturing the value, commanding those premium prices. And another thing, this strong Q3 performance, hitting this milestone now, it came even with what Apple themselves called significant headwinds.
Right, they mentioned challenges.
Yeah, specifically things like ongoing trade tariffs, which can impact costs and pricing, and also maybe a bit of a slower start, you could say, in integrating really advanced AI features compared to some competitors.
Ah, okay. So they overcame those hurdles.
It seems so, which really emphasizes that brand loyalty, again, the strength of their ecosystem. It shows a lot of resilience. They can weather storms, even ones related to their own strategic timing, like with AI.
Okay, that brings us nicely to challenges, because every success story has them. And for Apple, like you just touched on, a lot of observers are pointing to AI as the big one looming.
It's definitely the elephant in the room, you could say.
The company seems to be under quite a bit of pressure to roll out genuinely meaningful AI features, especially when, competitors have been talking about AI constantly. We are seeing moves, though, those partnerships, like with OpenAI,
Right, to boost Siri and launch this Apple Intelligence Initiative.
which sounds like their big play to integrate AI across the board, right? Devices, services.
Exactly. And a key insight here is just how crucial that full AI integration is going to be for Apple's future. And, how the fact that it's still kind of pending or just rolling out might affect demand for future iPhones.
How so?
Well, if Apple doesn't catch up fast enough in the AI race, if the features they roll out don't feel genuinely useful or innovative to people, like truly indispensable, not just nice to haves, it could really start to sway consumer choices. People might look elsewhere if they feel the iPhone is falling behind in smarts.
So that amazing acceleration we saw earlier could potentially slow down.
It could. If the perception becomes that the iPhone isn't leading the pack in what feels like the next big wave in mobile tech, which is AI.
But Apple's clearly not just sitting still. They're working on the next iPhone, right?
Yeah.
What's coming down the pipe that might tie into this?
Well, they're not resting on their laurels, no. Leaks and rumors are already pointing towards the iPhone 17 series.
iPhone 17, what are we hearing?
Some interesting stuff, actually. There's talk of potentially a new super thin model, maybe called the iPhone 17 Air.
Air? Like the MacBooks?
Kind of suggests that, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe expanding the lineup, offering different form factors. But perhaps more significantly, there are persistent rumors about major display upgrades.
Okay. Like what?
Specifically bringing promotion, that's their high refresh rate display tech, more broadly, across the iPhone 17 lineup.
Ah, promotion. Smoother scrolling, better animations.
Exactly. It makes everything feel more fluid, more responsive, really noticeable for gaming, but even just swiping around. So it shows they're still heavily investing in that core user experience, improving the fundamentals, even while they wrestle with this bigger AI challenge.
Okay. So wrapping this up, we've unpacked this absolutely colossal milestone, 3 billion iPhones sold. We've seen the incredible acceleration, how they got there faster and faster, understood the huge financial weight the iPhone carries for Apple, and even got a little glimpse of what might be next with iPhone 17.
Yeah, this deep dive, it really underscores Apple's just unrivaled position in the mobile market and how central, how pivotal the iPhone remains to their whole ecosystem. But crucially, it also shines a light on these big pivot points ahead, especially around AI, like we discussed, and how they evolve the hardware. Those things are really going to shape Apple's future in what's still a very rapidly changing tech world.
Right. So for you, the listener, the big takeaway here seems clear. The iPhone, it's way more than just a phone. It's this global phenomenon that somehow, even after almost 20 years, is still finding ways to speed up its reach and impact. But here's a thought maybe to chew on, especially if you follow this space closely. If Apple's continued success really does hinge on delivering truly meaningful AI, what specific new features or capabilities would you actually want to see first from Apple Intelligence? What would keep the iPhone feeling like a must-have device for you personally heading into the next decade?